Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. It is a beautiful day. Y'all see the title? We're going to hop right into it. So, 3 days, 3 nights lands on the Sabbath and not day one. So, this year actually follows the same pattern as the year that Christ was sacrificed. So, Passover happened to land on a Wednesday. That was the 14th day of the month. So, that's when the moon was hit full for the first. So the moon is full 3 times a month. So it's for 3 days out of the month. So the 14th day, the 15th day, and the 16th day. That is highlighted in the book of Enoch. All right. And so Messiah was crucified on that day, and he was in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights. And so he was crucified as the Passover lamb. So this would have been at twilight on that Wednesday. All right, and then so 3 days, 3 nights. So we have twilight from what you have from Wednesday to Thursday is 1 day. From Thursday to Friday, 2 days. From Friday to Saturday is 3 days. And so what I want to do is one, clarify how times were set up in Genesis. And so what I want to do is I want to go ahead and let's just look at the Genesis text. So once again, I keep trying to tell y'all that every translation is a translation, so they better be saying generally the same thing no matter which one that you go to. So I'm currently looking at New King James. If you'd like me to, I can go to King James. It's going to say, like I said, it better say the same stuff. You translating something that you didn't originally create. There is a source. And so when you translate in that source, in order for you to say this is a translation and I didn't make up my own thing, it has to match what the source is. All right, so English is one of those tricky, finicky languages where you're able to kind of twist and maneuver your way around things without getting to the point. And so Genesis 1, so we're talking about time and how Yah has separated the day and night and what consists of a day. So let's just quickly go through the New King James. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. All right, so we're going to break this down. Heaven is plural in the Hebrew. It ends in a yam. We talked about this in a previous live, but it is a plural. It makes it plural. So, and earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So this here is a clear representation of a mistranslation. So we're on the first page of the Bible right now. The first book, the first chapter, the first words, and we already getting off course from what the original Hebrew says. So even in verse 1, looking at the interlinear, even they have to admit it because it was this particle is plural, the heavens. But when it comes down to the translation that they give you, and they want you to like put your stamp on and say, hey, this is what I'm willing to put my soul. I'm willing to risk my soul because of the words that is in this book. when the words in that book don't necessarily reflect the source. That was always my thing. I really wanted to like deeply dive into a particular text and like really thoroughly study each and every word and just know each and every word. And what I found was authors' interpretations, and I found that nobody was really seeming to really truly make their best effort at translating the scriptures. And praise Abba, as these studies progressed, you see that the whole world is in confederacy. So even though the world is willing to acknowledge that our Elohim exists and he's powerful and he's the only creator and he has a covenant and all these things, they will never admit who the people of the scriptures are, even though they all came together in order to fulfill prophecies which brought us from being the head to the tail, and consequently caused them to become the head. All right, and they've been the head for quite some time, and the earth is not happy with them being the head, which is part of the reason why cleanup time is happening. But it's all biblical prophecy. All right, and so looking at the Hebrew, when it comes down to the words that you have in the translation, I've already done the liberty of studying each and every token, and I actually made a complete translation of that chapter. And so what I'll do is I'll just kind of read what I have so far. So can I make this bigger? My bad, bro. Make this bigger. Can I make this bigger? I can. Okay. All right. Hallelujah. So, how we want to do this? Probably do it like that. Yeah. So we got my tokens, and we have the Bible Hub, and we have the their King James, but that's fine. So, all right. So cool. So this is my honest effort translation of Genesis 1. So, in the beginning, Elohim. We're not going to say God because, the letters say Elohim. A, La, Ha, Ya. Ain't that what it say? All right, so Elohim created the Shamayam, heavens, and the Arats, Aleph, A, Resh, Ra, Tzadeh, Tz. Notice they don't even try their best to, when it comes down to these so-called pronunciations above a word, bro, it is goofy. Let me just go ahead and see if I can I'll do it in some other time. But it's literally how you can see it in practice. Every letter that's not the end letter, it is fully enunciated. The only letters that are single letters, I'm still contemplating about the wall, whether that is a oo sound or a wa sound. But I see how wa applies everywhere. I see how oo applies sometimes. So that's still kind of up for debate. But the only, as far as the way that when it comes down to standardizing things, only letters that are single letter are the Aleph, and that's an A, and the Ayin, which is it sounds like I. So the letter pronunciations of the letter itself also gives you a way that you use that letter. Okay, and so yeah, so what we're doing is that we're spelling out the letters of what's in the actual text. When it comes down to like nouns of places and things, why not get those things correct? Why you gotta make up your own stuff? All right, so And the Arat's earth was formless and empty, and darkness was on the surface of the deep. And notice I'm trying to introduce the Hebrew word. So we have tahawam, tahawam, and the rawak, ra, wa, k. All right, or ch, or ha. Okay. Of Alahayim hovered over the surface of the Mayam waters. Remember, this hey prefix means the. So Mayam waters. I know my baby boy sleepy. All right, and said. All right, so notice. So we have. So this is actually a mistake on my behalf, because this is before I recognized like the difference between Amar and Debar. So this translation happened some time ago, but now I'm noticing. So they use Amar here and not Debar. So this is just Yah stating. So Yah said, light exists. So this Yahai means to exist, to be. All right. And so reading this in Hebrew, I like the way it sounds, because it just flows just so eloquently. All right. And so we have, okay. So we have Waya Amar, Alahayim, Yahai Awar, Wayahai Awar. Beautiful, eloquent. And this is what it means. And spoke Alahayim. He's telling something like come into existence. Light. And for sure, light came into existence. Beautiful. Not necessarily the same as let there be light. Like that just sounds a little European, a little Caucasian. It doesn't necessarily sound like a best effort of getting the words down. So all that the scriptures are saying is as far as this thing that's being created, just exists. I'm telling you to exist. All right, and then it existed. All right, and Yah saw Alahayim, the Awar, and surely it was top to wab, pleasant. So this is the word for good. So when people talk about good and evil, this is the word tawab. Yeah. And Yah separated the light between the darkness. He separated the light from the darkness, and he called the light Yawam. He called it day. So we on verse 5. Let's see what they. So yeah. So notice that we have God called the light day, but not necessarily the name that Yah gave it. So he actually gave like the daytime part of the day. He gave that a name, and it's Yawam. All right, and for the darkness, he gave a name, Layala. Like, if any of y'all about to have some kids, like I promise you, like these are some amazing names that you can consider. It's gonna be unique, and everybody like, "Whoa, what that mean?" Oh, yeah, I learned about my roots. I learned that I'm learning my original tongue, and we're passing down names that our ancestors passed down. We thought we had no history, but our history is actually in the Bible. Who would have known? All right, cool. So, all right, so this is the banger right here. So he called night Layala, and now it says. So notice when Yah created light, we have the Yahai Awar. So we have Yahai, so like come to pass. And so here we're saying that after he gave these things names, they're saying that it came to pass evening, so nighttime, and it came to pass morning, so twilight came and morning came. And that means the first day is over. Does that make sense? Let's keep going because it differentiates for every day and it clarifies on the seventh day. Okay? And so if we were to keep going in the King James, and God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. So these heathens, they know what the scriptures actually saying. So they saying like, these are the things that happen. By the time that morning gets here the next day, so twilight, so like the dawn, when the sun rising, that's the start of the next day. All right, and so what we want to talk about is the 3 days and 3 nights of Christ, because Yah has set up this cosmic clock so it's so perfect. Did you guys know that the sun has its cycles between minimum and maximums, and in the period it goes in between min and max, and it does so in 11 years. So every 11 years the sun goes through a cycle. The same way that we have seasons, same way that we have years and time, and the way that the earth revolves around the sun, and the sun does whatever it's doing in the galaxy, and everything else in the Shamayam, that which Yah created, is operating the way that it was designed to operate. You sleepy, baby boy. And so everything in the Shamayam, in the heavens, Yah he put that up there for our times, like for us to be able to actually know time. And I'm not going to. We just gonna hop right into it. Verse 14, chapter 1, verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. So that is a clarification as well. So if you divide in day and night, that means as one appears, that means the other one is gone. So day starts, the new day starts when light appears and darkness starts to fade. So let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. All right, so mind you, I don't like the King James. I only like being able to look at the source. Once this bloodline descendant version of the Bible come out, that's gonna be the truth, because it's gonna be a best effort translation. And so going back to my translation for the same scriptures. Can I do with that? I do that. Okay, cool. Y'all see that? Okay. All right. So reading the same stuff. All right. So Yah created. He, for starting at verse 3, and Elohim commanded, light be, and light was. And Elohim saw the light, that it was beautiful. And Elohim separated the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light Yawam, day, and the darkness he called Layala, night. And evening came, and morning came, day one. Tell me that don't set you on the right track to see, like, a period of a day is over at this point. We're not saying that a new day starts at twilight. That's still part of the same day. You still up, ain't you? All right, cool. And so, starting at verse 6, and Elohim commanded, Rakayai, because those are the, once again, these are the actual tokens. These are the actual tokens in the scriptures. If I, like I said, I'm like, listen, if I'm lying, I'm flying, right? So verse 6. All right, so he said, let there be a firmament. A firmament. This says, this is a resh, ra. We have a kaf, ka. We have a yod, ya. And we have an ayin, I. Ra, kayai. Ra, kayai. Ra, kayai. Ra, kayai. From the Mayam waters that were above the Rakayai. And it was so. And Elohim called the Rakayai firmament. He called the firmament Shemayam, heavens, plural. Once again, if I'm lying, I'm flying. Let's see what verse it was on. Let's see. On 8. Yeah, he called, bro, and they saying that he called the firmament sky. He just called it sky. No, he called it Shamayam. Shamayam. Alright, and evening came, and morning came. A second day. Noted. It's done. It's in the books. And Elohim commanded. Once again, they use Amar here, so no command. It'll be, he just uttered, he spoke. Let the Mayam, under the Shamayam, be gathered together in one place. And let the dry land appear. And surely it was so. And Elohim called the dry land Arats. Arats. Verse 10, right? Right. Verse 10. And he called. See? You know what I don't like? You see how we have the English letter A, right? And it makes the A sound. Right? Their English letter A came from our English Aleph, which looks the exact same. It's actually an ox. It's a picture of an ox, which is alive. So an ox, while it's alive and doing its thing, it might get curious and may turn its head to the side or something like that. Maybe look like that, right? You see this is the bottom of the ox face. These are the horns. One horn, two horn. All right. When the English took it, what do they do? This is a representation of a live animal. They turn it upside down. What kind of ox? What kind of ox's head is horns is down, and his face is up, a dead one. I'm telling you, it really gets deep. The efforts that was put into orchestrating the reality that so many of us are caught up in. Is, man, the road is in the scriptures, and the scriptures have been tampered with, but the scriptures are still pure. The scriptures provide remedies to the tampering. And I'm just one of the voices trying to be a voice guide. All right, so Alaham called the dry land Arats. You kind of see the play on how you can get earth from Arats. I can hear it, I guess. All right. And the gathering of the Mayam waters he called Yamayam. Seas. Okay, once again. So we have seas, but the letters are Yod, Ya, Mem, Ma, Yod, Ya, Mem, Ya, Mayam, Yamayam. All right, and Alaham saw that it was beautiful. And Alaham commanded, vegetate their rocks with vegetation, earth from every sown Zerai. Zerai. And this word means seed. We're looking at verse 11. A lot of our people have like a name, Sarai, and they didn't necessarily know where the word really come from or what it means. First of all, let me tell you, the word Sarai means princess. And of course, you can see that it is a derivation of Zerai, which is seed, aka descendant. So we're talking about seeds and descendants in the first chapter. All right, and so we have Zerai, seed. We have Sarai, princess. All right, so it's right there in our faces. It's right there in our faces. The types of culture of the people of this book, but that's only if you allow yourself to see it. So we're looking at verse 11. So we have seed right here, right? See it? Zion, Resh, Ayin, Zarai, Sarai. Put it together, Zarai. All right. So we have the tree, fruit, which makes fruit for its own species, whose seed is in it, whose Zerai is within it while it's on the earth. And it was so. And the Arats brought forth vegetation, herb sown from Zerai, seed for its species, and trees. The trees, the fruit what makes fruit for its own species, and this Zerai is within itself for its species. And Alahim saw that it was beautiful. And evening came, and morning came, a third day. So now we're 3 days are done. We're heading into our fourth day. All right, and so we just gonna keep going. So now we're at verse 14. And Alahim commanded lights. Verse 14. How does he start it off? Okay, so we have Ma'arath. And I see that this is a modification of a war So if I go to my script, to my tokens, and go to verse 14. One second. I can't even yell because that's gonna wake him up. All right, so I'm just gonna keep it pushing. It is what it is. All right, and Allah commanded lights. So we on verse 14. Verse 14. Okay, once again, and Allah spoke. Okay, so he said, Ma R. Ma R, who? Who is Ma R? This is my first time seeing this. Verse 14. Okay, he's saying, yeah. So what's the word then? It is ma'awar. 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 Ma. Light. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Interesting indeed. Alright, so okay. So he's saying light be within the firmament of the Shamayam, to divide between the day and between the night, and you will be for signs and appointed times, and for days and for years. And so notice verse 14 here says that you're going to be for seasons and days and years, signs, season, and days. But Yah has feast days. Yah has holy days. And so this is a clear distraction from Yah's times, looking at their platform for the same verse. Yah said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide between the day and between the night, and let them be for seasons. But let's see the word. Mawide. And so this means meeting, appointed time, appointed feast. So these are like Yah's feast days, which he introduces to the house of Israel in the written scriptures via Moses, but it was passed down verbally, because our ancestors, they kept the feast. But one second, for real, I got it. One second. All right, we back with it. All right, cool. All right. And so, very reasonable translation of that same verse is saying, lights, you be in the firmament of the Shamayam. And this is your job. Divide between the day and the night. You'll be for signs and appointed times. Right? Because that's what the word means. And for days and for years. Chill out. And you will be for lights in the Rakayai of the Shamayam, to shine upon their rots. And it was so. And Alahayim made two great lights, the greater for ruling the day, and the lesser for ruling the night, and the stars. And Alahayim placed them in the Rakayai of the Shamayam, to shine upon their rots, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide between the light and between the darkness, And Elohim saw that it was beautiful. And evening came, morning came, the fourth day. 4 days done, we're going into the fifth day. And Elohim commanded, let the Mayam swarm with swarms of living beings. And birds, let them fly over the Arats on the face of the Shamayam. And Elohim created the great sea creatures and every living being that moves, with which the Mayam swarmed, each according to its species, and every winged bird, each according to its species. And Elohim saw that it was beautiful. And Elohim blessed them, saying, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, fill the Mayam in the Yamayam, fill the waters in. So Yamayam, that's the living being, that's the soul of the waters. That's the creation. And let the birds multiply on the Arats. And evening came and morning came, the fifth day. And Elohim commanded, let the Arats bring forth living beings, livestock, and creeping creatures, and the beasts of the Arats, each according to its species. And it was so. And Elohim made the beasts of the Arats, each according to its species, and the livestock, each according to its species, and every creeper creature of the Adamah. So notice that we have the play on words here. Adam was made out of what? The Adamah, the ground. Okay? Each according to its species. And Elohim saw that it was beautiful. And Elohim commanded, let us make Adam. They're saying mankind. They're not talking about a singular Adam person yet. Because in this, it is saying, let's see. So this is just talking about just general mankind. They're not giving this person a name. Every time that Adam is referenced in Genesis, up until until they start, I don't think he's ever called Adam until after he had already passed. So every time that the scriptures uses Adam, it's normally prefixed with the ha. So it's saying God said to the man. He's not saying hey, Adam. All right, so let us make Adam, mankind, in our image, according to our likeness. This is Yah talking to the earth. Let them have stewardship over the fish of the Yamayam, and over the birds of the Shamayam, and over the livestock, and over all the Arats, and over every creeping creature that creeps on the Arats. And Elohim created Adam in his image. In the image of Elohim, he created him. Male and female, he created them. So this is chapter 1 is kind of like a summary of the details which are going to be expounded on in chapter 2. So yes, he created mankind. He created Adam and Eve. And this is a high-level summary before they go into the details in chapter 2. And Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the Arats and bring it under control and have stewardship over fish of the Yamayam. So we had 28. Okay. Okay, and over the birds of the Shamayam, and over every living being that is on the earth. And Elohim said, Behold, all right, so this one's interesting as well. Behold, I give you all the vegetation on the face of the earth that sows Zerai seed, so things that have a seed, and every tree of which has fruit of the tree which sows Zerai. So it's like, so for example, an apple tree. When the tree is full, the tree is grown up and it's producing apples. An apple is created while it's still on the tree. That apple has seeds in it. Those seeds can create more trees. Get it? And to every life on the Arats, and to every bird of the Shamayam, and all that moves on the Arats, who has a living Napash, which is soul. Every green vegetation will be for food. So there we go. And Elohim saw all that he had made, and behold, it was very beautiful. And evening came, and morning came, the sixth day. So 6 days are done. They in the books. All right, so going into chapter 2. So now we have, and so it's finished. And let me just hop into it. These are, that's cool. I'll just look at this. And so it's finished, the creation of the heavens and the earth and their armies. So I really would like to pull this up. So let's go ahead and look at you. Okay. Okay, so now we have, okay, this is chapter 2. And the Shamayam, okay, and the Shamayam and the heavens were completed, and now their army. So notice that we have Tsa, Ba, Am. So we have host. This is a root of one of Yah's titles, Yahweh, Taba'awath, Taba'awath. All right, and that's completely just glossed over in the translation. So they don't, it says like the host of them. What does that even mean? And all the host of them, huh? Okay, all right. Let's see, where was I at? Okay, I'm here. Okay. Okay, so now we're going into what we just talked about as far as the Shabbath, or the Shabbath being equal to the Shabbat, the Sabbath. And so notice, and on the seventh day, Shabbayai, my translation is a little off. So I have like Shabbath, but it should be Shabbai. Notice that let me just go ahead and pull up the tokens for that real quick. So we're looking at Genesis chapter 2. Alright. Okay, cool. So we started this, and every of his creations. So the Shamayam and the heavens. Okay, and so now we have this at Sabbath, which I haven't translated yet. And so yes, notice that I have the Shabbayai, which aligns with the actual tokens. So seventh, but it's the play on between that and Sabbath. So we have the seventh. Okay, and he rested. So this is Shabbath. This is the Sabbath. The Shabbath happens on the Shabbayai. All right. Ceased from all his work on that day, and he blessed that day. So he blessed the seventh day, and he made it holy. He made it Kadash. Okay? Because in that day, he Shabbat. He rested. Shabbat. Alright, so you can't change that day. You can't change that day. And so I want to take this full circle to the idea as far as like changing the Sabbath of like the Saturday morning to morning to being on a different day. So we're part of Sunday. Sunday morning is a different day than between Saturday morning and Saturday night. And so when Yahweh Yeshua, both of those names actually have meanings in Hebrew, and they mean a little bit different things. So Yeshua means he will save, and it really would be Yeshua, but Yahweh Shai is it literally means Yahweh is the salvation. All right. So that's a bit outside the scope, but when we're talking about Messiah and his 3 days and 3 nights, going from the beginning, so the day that the Passover was celebrated. So that's always going to be during the full moon, the full moon of the first month. All right. And so our personal experience this year, what you'll find when it comes onto these cycles, every 11 years will the specific days that things fall on align exactly like that. So I know last year the full moon of the first month did not occur on a Wednesday, and so 3 days and 3 nights would not have landed us on a Shabbat evening. However, in Yahweh's case, it happened to be exactly like what we're experiencing right now. So like technically we are dwelling in the same time as far as the revolution. So imagine the clock. You know, you say a clock is right twice a day. At that particular time, you are in the same space. Like we are in the same space of time when it comes out to a revolution. All right, and so we happen to align where the first month. So mind you, we're coming out of solar maximum, and we are lining up. We are landing on a full moon of the first month, which happens to fall on a Wednesday. So that's when the Passover lamb will be sacrificed, right? And so 3 days and 3 nights from then. So the Passover in Leviticus 23, it is the lamb is sacrificed at twilight on the 14th day. So we're not in the 15th day. Twilight of the 14th day is still part of the 14th day. It's not the 15th day until daybreak of the 15th day. If that makes sense. That's what we just read in Genesis. That's why we just went through all of that. And so Messiah, Christ, was crucified on the full moon, which happened to be on a Wednesday. The Sabbath was instantiated here in Genesis chapter 2, and so it was still being honored and celebrated in the Messiah's days, right? And so during the 7 days of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, you're going to have a Shabbat, which falls into the every 7 day Shabbat. It may or may not be the same day as the like holy convocation. It happened to be that last year, but this year it happens to be on a uh, Wednesday. So last year we had the first day. So the Passover would have been a Saturday, and then the start of Feast of Unleavened Bread would have started on a Sunday. This year, the Passover, the full moon, happened on a Wednesday, and so Thursday started the Feast of Unleavened Bread. All right, and so Wednesday night is that was Passover. All right, and so Thursday is supposed to be a solemn assembly. So at this point, Messiah is in the grave, and people are mourning. All right. The second day of unleavened bread is not a non-working day, and so things are just progressing. And then the third day is also not a non-working day, but in this case, this third day happens to fall on a weekly Sabbath. So like where we are literally about right now. And so this is the time of the Sabbath. The Sabbath is not over until daybreak tomorrow. And so Messiah rose at some point in time between a few hours ago, right now, and before daybreak tomorrow. But the women, they didn't come into the grave until it was already daybreak. So yes, they was there on Sunday. He was already gone though. They didn't say that he rose up on Sunday. They said he was already gone by Sunday. Something to think about. Hallelujah. Now you put this little man to bed. Y'all have a good night.